welcome to the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. I'm Ruth and I love to knit. Now, this is a wee bit different this morning. If you've never watched my podcast before, this is not a normal podcast. You might want to go back and watch some of the previous podcasts that I've done to see what it's normally like here. It will definitely be just as rambly as a normal podcast. But if you have been watching my podcast recently, you'll know that we are doing a Kal from 1st of July to the 30th of September. The Across the Pond Shawl Kal, and I'm doing this with my lovely friend Fernanda from Little Monkeys and Me podcast. And we did it last year and we had so much fun and such a good time that we thought, let's make it an annual thing. Well, 2 years running. And we'll do it again this year. But I thought, I've had so many questions about it, and I thought I would do a wee extra podette, so to speak, although it may be just as long as a normal podcast. We'll see what happens. A wee bonus episode, a wee I think it's a pep rally, a pre-Kal pep rally. And if you've never done a Kal before, a Kal stands for knit along, but it can begin with a K or it begin with a C for crochet along. But ours, just for handiness sake, is going to be a K-A-L, Kal. And as I say, we just had so much fun last year doing it that we thought we'd do it again this year. And I've written a whole load of notes because I will forget something, and I know I'll turn the camera off and I'll have forgotten half of it as well. So you're still welcome to email us or get in touch, leave a message below, whatever. And incidentally, just in case you've never watched before, you can get in touch with me on Instagram at Ruth Loves to Knit Podcast, on Ravelry on Ruth Loves to Knit, and by email and on ruthlovestoknit@gmail.com. And any of those modes are perfectly fine to get in touch with me. Not modes, is it? It's platforms. Any of those platforms, get in touch with me if you have any questions at all. I know some of you have got in touch and said you've never done a Kal before. It's just a bit of fun. Please don't get stressed about it. It's meant to be fun. Knitting is meant to be fun. Crochet is meant to be fun. And we don't want you getting stressed about it in any way. Shawls, because I think I could knit them forever. If definitely my desert island knit, although probably wouldn't need them on a desert island. Fernanda loves them too, although she is a big garment knitter as well. And so it's definitely our love, and we thought we'd just bring it all together in a Kal again this year. And you can see my tower of shawls. Don't worry, it'll be quick. I'm not... There's a reason for having them, because I've been asked quite a few questions and I want to answer them. But just the boring bit, the rules for the Kal, look, it's easy come, easy go. As I say, please don't stress about it. I'm just going to bring this over so I can read it, as my eyes are rubbish. So as I say, I'm doing it with Fernanda of Little Monkeys and Me. And we plan to do it on Instagram and on Ravelry. But if you don't have access to either of those platforms, you can email us a picture of your finished object. So I am covering Instagram, so show notes are going to be a nightmare for this episode, and YouTube did not like my show notes from last time, my last podcast, so I'm gonna write quite a lot of things on the screen. So if you can juke up, pause, rewind, whatever you need to do. I will try to do the show notes as well, but if I don't, I will try and have things printed on the screen, famous last words. And I was going to put lots and lots and lots of photographs in of all the shawls that I've knit, and I'm not doing that because I became totally overwhelmed by it. There will be pictures, but you're just going to have to see what I knit. Anyway, so on Instagram, the hashtag is going to be ATPSKal22, and that's for the chat. Show us what you're knitting, show us what decisions you've made, show us what yarn you're going to use. And for those who haven't done this before, it needs to be a public account. I can't see it if you do it in a private account. And all you do is you post on your Instagram feed and put the hashtag ATPSKal22, and that will automatically, in the powers of technology, transfer over onto the Instagram page that we've set up. And then if you're super duper quick, there's going to be, we were rookies last time and we made the mistake of not having an FO thread. And the FO thread will be ATPS Kal 22FO, but probably won't have any thing put in there for a while. So don't put anything in there. It's not for chat. That's just for when you've finished your object, and people can comment and say how beautiful it is. And obviously you can comment, anybody can comment under projects and say nice things only, please. And so that's the that's the Instagram. So if you have any questions about that, just get in touch. And then on Ravelry, now I don't find the Ravelry setup layout very easy, so that's why somebody cleverer than me is doing it, Fernanda, and she is going to be under Little Monkeys and Me. Now that's probably not going to be set up till a wee bit closer to the time, although we'll see what happens. And you can put your pictures in there and chat, and people can answer as well, and it's quite handy because it's nicely numbered, so when we do the random draws for prizes, that's easier to do. And again, that'll be the ATPS Kal 22, and then there'll be an FO thread too, but that'll be under Little Monkeys and Me. And if you've not used Ravelry in this way, if I get this right, you go into the Ravelry site. Now I know it's not accessible for everyone, that's why we're trying to do everything here, and you go to forums and you type in Little Monkeys and Me, excuse me, Little Monkeys and Me, it should come up. If not, get in touch and we'll see if we can help you. And then if all else fails, send a photograph of your finished object to me, ruthlovestoknit@gmail.com, and I will transfer it onto the Instagram post for you, and you'll still be included in the draws. So, what to do? So if you have a languishing whip that is less than 25% done, you're welcome to include that in our Cowl. Finished items only, please. No whips in this, because I think 3 months you should be able to finish a shawl, or 6 in that time. Knitting or crochet. Again, somebody last year crocheted a beautiful shawl and won a prize. Any pattern, any size, but at least one skein. Come on now. And any fibre. Acrylic, cotton, the poshest of posh, whatever you want to use. I know one lady said she had a special skein of cashmere that she wants to use, so she's going to use that for this. No cowls or shawls, and there is a rumour, and TBD, isn't that what you say? To be determined. We might have a Zoom knit night midway through, but with Fernanda being in America and me being in England, it's hard to get a time that suits everybody. So I'm sure somebody will miss out, but that's still in negotiations. And so a lot of people have said they would love to sit and knit with us, and we would love to as well. So we're going to look into that, and but we'll let you know. Don't worry, we'll put it all in all the different areas. So I think that's all the rules. Seems for a fun Cowl, that's a lot of rules, but it's not really. It's not really. So from 1st of July to the 30th of September, you get those shawls on the needles. And I'm always asked, why do you like shawls so much? And I've told you before, but I'll just do it again. You know, I'm not a tiny person, and I love the fact that I don't have to worry if it's size inclusive. I don't have to worry if it goes up to my size. I don't have to worry if it's going to fit. So one size fits all. And I love the fact that often there's so many different stitch patterns in each shawl. Sometimes we'll see some of them, you know, there's so many different techniques, and yet there's so many just simple things as well. And I love the fact, I love this about any knitting, is the fact that it can look so complicated, but it's really not. Especially some of Stephen West shawls look so complicated, but they're really not. And I love that too. I love that cheat. I wear them all the time. You'll rarely see me without a shawl. Even in the summertime, I'll wear a wee one around my shoulders, around my neck. I wear a lot of quite plain clothes, and it kind of fancies them up a wee bit. You might say, no, it does not, but I think it does. It just brings a bit of colour, and it can be knit in any fibre. It works from, as I say, through any fibre, cotton, whatever you want. And I just think they're a thing of beauty. I really love them. There's hardly a shawl that I haven't met that I don't love. So that's why I love shawls. So some of the questions that I was given on Instagram, and yeah, it's just Instagram, yeah. So this is a difficult one for me, because I've been knitting since I was 7. So this is a very difficult one for me, but somebody asked for some beginner patterns. And so it's difficult for me because I don't consider myself a beginner anymore. But if you've watched any of my podcasts recently, you know that I am banging on, I am banging on about the Mindfulness Shawl. And I've confused a few people, so I'm going to take a sip of water if something bothering me. You know that I've been banging on about the Mindfulness Shawl, and I confused a few people because I call it the Mindlessness Shawl, but it's the Mindfulness Shawl, and it's made with loops, and I was counting up, I've now knit 8 of them. But this was the original. It's been folded up because it's a wee bit thicker. I'm not going to go into great detail about the fibre and the yarns because I've shown them all on podcasts before. But this was the recommended yarn for this project, and this is just a little 1 skein shawl. Now this was done in DK, but if you've been watching at all, you know I've done it on all the different weights and just with a picot bind off, and it's just garter stitch, my favourite yellow, and it would be a fantastic beginner shawl. But I always say nothing is a beginner really, because if there's a stitch you don't know, YouTube has it. Or you can ask me if you want, if I can help. Or in your knitting shop, you know, to say you're a beginner, literally, you know, it's the first time you've picked up the needles. And I always say, if you do it wrong, rip it out and nobody knows. So that's the Mindfulness Shawl. You've seen it 100 times, and I would definitely recommend this as a beginner shawl, as a palette cleanser, as a just mindless project that just I think is dead effective. And my next podcast I'll show you my latest finished one. So that's the Mindfulness Shawl. And then there's another shawl, and it's done by Loop of London, and it's the tiny tassel shawl, and it's basically the same idea, but it's got centre increases. So I originally thought it was a beginner pattern, but that might be out of your league a wee bit. So, but as I said, go for it, just go for it, and you might surprise yourself of what you'll be able to do. But the Mindfulness Shawl, I've put the details, is not on Ravelry, it's on madewithloops.co.uk, but I'll put the details up. Then somebody wanted me to show, now this could all go very wrong because they're all piled up here and they could all just tip onto the floor, so it could be a disaster. But oh dear me, of course the one I want's in the bottom of the pile. So somebody asked me to show them the Artist Garden blanket shawl, and of course if you've watched the podcast you've seen it. This is by Tiff Nealon, and I used all minis for this. Let's see which way. The light's a bit, for a very dreary day here today, so the light's a bit funny, sorry. But this is my Artist Garden shawl. And I love it. But if you remember, I blocked it too aggressively. So it's a wee bit stretched out. But I did these with hedgerow yarns minis, and just kept adding till, oh, it's back to front. See my ends? There we go. That's it. I wonder why it was a wee bit. Highly recommend this. This is knit very uniquely. Obviously it's a paid for pattern. But again, you might look at that and think, oh, that's really hard. It is so simple. She's done it so well. There's many pattern designers put links to tutorials on their patterns. So go check it out. And I would really recommend any of Tiff Nealon's shawls. And this is a real stash buster. You could use all the odds and ends. I just put my hand into the bag and picked out whatever came next. And I think it's quite effective. It's been folded up a wee bit because I kind of don't need it at this time of year. So that's the Artist Garden. I'm not sure who asked me for that, but that's the Artist Garden. And I wear this actually quite a lot just over my shoulders. And I'll show you what I use to secure my shawls. And I wear it as a shawl, or I just scrunch it up and put it up like that underneath the coat. But obviously this weather I don't need it. So that's the Artist Garden shawl. Then favourite 1 skein shawls. So obviously Mindfulness Shawl, but made with loops. Then I have made this wee one, oh, don't know how many times. I've made it a lot for gifts, but this is mine obviously. And this is by Jem Arrowsmith of Under the Olive Tree Knits. She has a lot of one skein shawls. She has a website and she's on Ravelry. And as regards that, if you can't use Ravelry, I often just Google the name of the designer or Google the name of the pattern, and it'll show you whether they have a website or not if you do struggle with Ravelry. I did struggle with Ravelry until I got the dark page available, and now I'm fine with Ravelry. So this is the Sun Glitter Shawl. Lovely lace and drop stitches. And you can do it in this Pawply yarn, but you can do it in plain, speckled, striped, whatever you want. And it's just one skein, and because of the drop stitches, it really is quite big. And as I say, I knit actually my son's teachers one of these for Christmas, and they really appreciate, you see that you saw them wearing them whenever I picked them up at the school gates. So that's one, and that's Sun Glitter Shawl. Oh no, that's not the Sun Glitter Shawl, that's, oh, ignore me. I actually remember, right, reverse, not editing. Ignore me. The Sun Glitter Shawl will be here. I have knit many of them, and I realised that I gave my last one away. It's come back to me now. This is the menopause brain. It's by Jem Arrowsmith. I do apologise, of Under the Olive Tree Knits, and as I say, she's got a lot of one skein shawls. So this is Coral Tides by Anne Beattie, and she also has a lot of one skein shawls. So if you're looking for those two, it's Jem Arrowsmith and Anne Beattie, and again I'll put the details. Sorry, this is just turning to muck, isn't it? So, and you might say, oh, I couldn't do a lace shawl. It's just knit two together eyelets. That's all it is. And really, really easy to follow patterns. And then, because I've finished doing the Mindfulness Shawl, I needed another addiction. Another one skein addiction. And I think I might have found it. I've tried a few things and they just haven't grabbed me. But this is a wee sneak peek into a finished object, so I'm not going to tell you too much about it other than... And this is maybe my next addiction. And it's this. And this is DK, lovely floaty DK. And this is The Age of Brass and Steam by Orange Flower Yarn. And it's on the orangeflower.com website. Even if you go into Ravelry, you have to go out to go to the website, and it's The Age of Brass and Steam, and I just think it's lovely. Now I did a wee extra because I just wanted to finish my skein of yarn, so it should finish about there, but I just went on a wee bit, and I think this might be my new addiction. Just a wee kerchief, and I think it's lovely. So that's definitely a one skeiner that you could try. Again, just eyelets. It's a free pattern, so I can say just knit two together on a row, and then you go on and follow it's a one-page pattern. Really, really good. So I'll tell you more about that in my finished objects in my next podcast. And so that's my one skein shawls that I've knit. I've knit lots more, but time doesn't permit. I do my preferred kind of shawl now is with a point rather than a crescent. I have a few crescent shawls. This one here is a crescent shawl, but I definitely prefer the traditional shawl point. Definitely better. It looks better, I think, under a coat or whatever. So, but if I'm wearing a shawl as a shawl, I would wear my crescent shawls that way. So the next question, I know one skein shawls are popular, but can you talk about big classic shawls you've knit? So big classic shawls I've knit. I presume that is a typical shawl you put over your shoulders. Apologise if that's wrong, but that's what I've taken from that. So probably big. And when you say big, you know it has to be a Stephen West. And this is my Lava Lake. Is that big enough? And it is massive, and it is so, I love it. I love it, and I often wear it. Obviously I can't show you how to put it on now. I wear it as a shawl, and I have a wee box of goodies here. Let's see where my shawl pin is. And I would often secure it. Sorry if it's noise. Oh, I've thrown it on the floor. Another one here. I would often secure it with a shawl pin. So I wear it as a shawl and then just bring it over and put the shawl pin in. And it's big enough, it covers it. I love it. I wore it the other day to church, and it's just typical. I just love it. In fact, there was enough of this one left that I knit a pair of socks out of that. So that's the Lava Lake by Stephen West, and I would highly recommend this. Well, I mean, highly recommend all shawls, but I absolutely love that. So if you want a good big challenge for the 3 months, that might be something. It's a 5 skein shawl, and again, easy to follow, and any tutorial, any difficult stuff he does, it's on tutorials on his YouTube. So, and again, if I have knit and you want to knit and I can help you, just ask. So that's the Lava Lake. So I'd say that's a traditional shawl. Then another traditional shawl, I suppose you would say, that I would wear as a shawl is the Silta. This is from the 52 weeks of shawls, but I think it's out. I think it's out now in a single pattern. Now this is only on Ravelry as far as I know, and this is another Tiff Nealon. And it is yeah, the Silta shawl. Now I did this in quite heavy woolly wool, I suppose, but you could do it in cotton, you could do it in whatever you want, but it's a DK. It's a DK shawl. So that was probably a traditional shawl that I would put around my shoulders. And I haven't actually got a lot of wear out of this yet, because when I knit it, it started to heat up a wee bit. So I look forward to wearing that next winter. So that's the Silta shawl. And then the other one that I suppose would be quite traditional is the burdock shawl. This is very traditional. This is, if you remember watching me, I was saying I would love a rocking chair. Well, I got a rocking chair in a cabin in the woods somewhere, and I would wear this in front of the fire. And this is the burdock shawl. You see the light shining through. It's got a plaid border, and obviously, there we go. So, and this is by Fox and Folk. And again, it's a woolly wool. So that would be, to me, that's a traditional shawl that you would wear around your shoulders. And I would often wear that around my shoulders when I'm sitting working at my desk or sitting knitting, or don't care if I look granny. And I just love it. I just think it's brilliant. But you mean, you don't have to knit it in brown and cream. You could knit it in whatever you want. But that, I think, if I've got that right, that's, you know, traditional shawls to me. Yes, so that, hope that answers your question. Then the next one was favourite shawls, shapes, sizes and ways to wear them. Well, that's like asking who my favourite child is. I love them all. Obviously in the summertime I probably wear more one skein shawls, but in the wintertime I love getting it all warm and round me and all happed up. So my favourite, but I would say, I've made a list here, the favourite to knit and then the favourite to wear. Now, I knit my mum a shawl for her birthday a couple of years ago because she loves the sea. And of course it's on the bottom. And I sent it off to her and it's in her colours, but she's never worn it. So I asked her for it back and I just got it back this week. Oh, there's no point sitting in a cupboard. And now, this is probably a traditional shawl too, but it's called the Sea Craving Shawl, and it was a collaboration between Giddy Yarns and Brixton Pearl, and so the pattern's by Brixton Pearl and the yarn's by Giddy Yarns. And I actually got a yarn pack for this at the Aberdeen yarn show before we moved down from Aberdeen to Devon. Just trying to see which is the right side. I think I need to put a wee label even on shawls. I think that's it. And this is the Sea Craving Shawl. Massive again. I think it was three skeins. And this was one of my favourite shawls to knit. I just couldn't put it down. I loved it. Sorry, everything's a bit blown out this morning. That's it there. And then it goes down into a lovely gradient. So I am going to wear this shawl. And again, it's massive, so you could wear it round your shoulders, or you could wear it, you know, scrunched up, or you can just wear it loosely or whatever. And I just think it's gorgeous. So I just took it back. Thanks very much for sending it back to me, Mummy. So that's was probably one of my favourite to knit. But yes, it was yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. And then the next one, which I couldn't put down, and this is a real case of, I thought this would be too hard. This was an Kal lockdown, can't remember, from Stephen West, and it was the Winter Lights West Knit by West Knits, and this is my version. And I remember looking at this. Now was it a mystery knit along, or what? No, it was a hibernation, the hibernation knit along. So we got it ahead of time, and I remember thinking that's far too hard for me. Wasn't. He did tutorials for it. He did. I mean, this is a real case of looking so complicated but just so easy. And I remember even lovely Karen of Stitches and Jacks got in touch with me and said, "Oh Ruth, I don't think I could do it." And I was like, "Go for it." And she said the same. She couldn't put it down, and it was so easy to knit. So that's a crescent shaped shawl. I do wear this quite a bit. You might be interested as well. He obviously, you can get things off his website and Ravelry. So that's the Winter Lights shawl. And then, what's my next? Mindfulness. Not going to show you that one again. Then the Exordium shawl. Lovely Rebecca gave us a week of a free pattern for this last week, was it? Finished on Sunday. I hope lots of you availed of that. I advertised it many times, and that was so thankful for that. That was a lovely idea, and that was for anybody wanting to join in our Cowl. And I did it, if you remember, in these beautiful kind of homage to Ukraine's flag that my lovely friend Hannah of Hannah's Happy Space gave me for Christmas. And these lovely, I think that looks like crochet, doesn't it? I really enjoyed knitting this, and I'd say there'd be a few of you putting this in the Cowl. I would love to knit another one a bit more subtle. The pictures from her pattern are a lot more subtle, obviously. But yes, that was a lovely knit, and again, it's got the point, so it's lovely to wear round that way. So then the next one that this one I've got on. So this is a Mother's Prayer, and I loved knitting this. This was an Cowl. This was, I think I loved the name. I think I love the idea of a mother praying, and I did pray many times over this for different people. And this is by the Periscoping Sisters, and this was an Cowl a couple of years ago, and I've knit at least 5 of these for different friends who may be struggling or having issues, or just needed to have a hug around their neck. One particular lady who's going through really quite severe cancer treatment takes it to all of her cancer appointments just to have with her. And I knit a wee bit extra. I often do that. If I've got a bit left over, I'll just knit a few more. So this is a wee bit deeper in mine than in other shawls. Just wanted to use up all the yarn. So that's a Mother's Prayer, and I would wear this a lot in the summer, actually. Show the right way around, Ruth. Just love it, really love it. And yeah, so that's a Mother's Prayer by Periscoping Sisters. Really recommend that one, and again, as I said, just love the name of it. So that's the ones I really enjoyed knitting. I loved knitting them all, but I had to pick some, didn't I? And then the ones I wear the most are definitely this one in the summer, definitely the Mindfulness Shawls. And then this is one I wore to death. In fact, it probably could do with a wash. And this is my Pressed Flowers shawl by Savory Knitting. And I have already bagged up some yarn to do another one of these, but it'll not be anytime soon. I absolutely love this, but it needs a wash because I've worn it so much. And you could wear this as a traditional shawl as well, but I do tend to bunch it up round. And yeah, I love it. And I've seen it's hundreds and hundreds of people have knit this. I think it's such a success. So that's my Pressed Flowers shawl by Savory Knitting. Then another one that I have worn to the death and needs a wee de-pill, I think, as well, is A Break in the Tide. Get it the right way around. A Break in the Tide by Tiff Nealon. As you say, I'm a big Tiff Nealon shawl fan, and the squish on this is just gorgeous. And it's got fisherman's rib. And I love wearing this one too. And the wool I chose obviously is really, really floaty and drapey. So that's a break in the tide. And then the Flying Fox shawl by Gotham Knits. Worn this to death as well. And I knit it in Debbie Bliss merino cashmere, so you can imagine. And I love this one too. Yeah, and you know, again, if you've watched this podcast, a little sneaky button means I did a mistake, but I just think it's fine when it's scrunched up around your neck. You can't see it. It's a lovely wine colour. And again, it's not difficult. If you see eyelets of lace, it's generally just knit two together, yarn over. It really is. And it gets very intuitive. And this particular Flying Fox, the Flying Fox shawl, can be done in fingering, DK. This is actually a sport weight, whatever you want. And I really recommend that one too. And then another one is my last one that I love wearing. I love wearing them all, I keep saying, is my painting honeycombs. And I wore this a lot because I have a yellow coat. I'll tell you the right way. And this is again by Stephen West. And I wore this loads and loads through the winter because it went so well with my yellow coat. And again, it's not difficult. Lots of slip stitches, so it goes quite fast because that's all slip. These are all slip stitches and garter. It goes quite fast. So that's Painting Honeycombs by Stephen West. And then one other one that actually was on the bottom of the pile that I absolutely love knitting but haven't got the wear out of it yet is my Kinship Shawl by Olga Jazzy. And I love this. And a thing I love about this is it just sits so lovely. You don't even need anything to keep it on. Just sits there, doesn't go anywhere. And sometimes I would just put a wee pin, or I would put it up like this and pin it up there. So those are my top picks for what I've knit. And of course then, if you want to be really topical, you want to knit the Across the Pond shawl. It's nothing to do with our podcast, it's nothing to do with our Kal, nothing to do, but it's by the expat knitter, Mina Phillips, and this is, it needs a good block, and again it's been folded up. This is the Across the Pond shawl. I know some of you did do that last year, and it needs block down the bottom again because it's curling up, but it's got lovely lace. So you could do that to be really topical. Doesn't gain you any more points. I know Fernanda did one of these as well. But yeah, so you could do that. So that's that. Those are the answers to that. Oh, this is going to be the same length as an ordinary podcast. Then somebody asked me how I wear my shawls. So obviously I wear them round like a bandana, I wear them as a shawl, I wear them to the side, but some of the wee things I have that help me do this again are my shawl pin. I have a shawl cuff that whenever you're wearing, it's a very cheap one I got off in Etsy. When you're wearing your shawl, you just put it on like this. Never make a QVC model with it. And that just keeps it from falling off, and then you can put it all different ways. And I had ordered myself a couple off an Etsy shop called Projects S 2020. I wonder if you see that. You see that? Of course, I ordered a yellow one, but I also ordered a brown one for a prize. So that'll be in the prize bin. But I mean, you can wear it up like that. You can wear it whatever way you want. You can wear it tighter. But I think these shawl cuffs are brilliant. And then I have, oh dear me, I have a wee pin as well that I sometimes just put up. And then I have one of these, which is, let's see which way, this way. which is just like a wee fancy thing, and it's got 2 wee clips, and you can just put it, and it keeps, the big ones I put around my shoulders, I often put this on, and it just keeps it, that clips to one side, that clips to the other, like wee, what do you call those, crocodile clips? And that keeps it on as well. Now this isn't a very high quality one, I got it from eBay, it came from China, but it does the job. Now it wouldn't hold the big heavy shawls, but certainly the lighter ones, it does the job. So there you are, there's different ways to keep your shawl on, and if you're a winner, you'll get a wee one of those in your package. I think that's everything that I have about those shawls. Now, what shawls am I going to knit? Well, I did a wee video before yesterday, so that this wouldn't be a nightmare, and I'm going to pop that in here now. So what am I going to knit for the Kal? Well, I went through my Ravelry, my books, my magazines, printed patterns that I'd already printed, and no judgment here, this is a judgment-free zone, no judgesons please, but I have 104 patterns for shawls and fingering weight, and 47 in DK or worsted. Well, I have the 52 weeks of shawl book to start with, so there's 52 right there. But I decided the best way for me to think how to choose shawls for the Kal. Obviously, I can't enter my own Kal, but I still want to take part. Are to ask our friend our electronic device with the name beginning with A. And I apologise right now if I set any of your devices off, but I thought we'd just do random numbers, whatever she picks I go with, and we'll see. I don't even know if I've got yarn for these things, but with the magic of editing hopefully just in a few minutes time I will show you what I'm going to knit these items with. So, and I hope I'll be able to put some photographs up as well of the actual items, and show notes are going to be a nightmare already for this podcast, so just bear with me. If it's not on the screen, if the names aren't on the screen, they'll be down below. So, right, Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 4.
Here's a number between 1 and 4. It's 3.
Ignore that. That was a trial run. Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 104.
Here's a number between 1 and 104. It's 4.
Very good. Right, number 4 on the it's the Slip Stitch Party Shawl by Isabel Kramer. So you all know I absolutely love Isabel Kramer. Now that shawl, you can do it, I think, with either 3 or 4 or 2 colours. So I'll see what I have in my stash for that. Okay, Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 104.
Here's a number between 1 and 104. It's 66.
66. Let's see. I'm sure there's a bingo call for that, but I don't know what it is. 66 is the Cornish thrift. That's very handy, seeing I live right on the edge of Cornwall. The Cornish Thrift Shawl by Nicola Diggins. So that's a different one, isn't it? And hopefully I'll put the picture up there. I can't remember what it looks like, so I can't even give you any details about that. And then we'll go on to the DK. So I'm picking 2 from fingering and 2 from DK. I can't remember how many DK I have now. I've said that. What did I say? 47. Now, I'm sure somebody brighter than me would have these all in a spreadsheet, but I'm not bright, so we'll just go with this. Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 47.
Here's a number between 1 and 47. It's 11.
Oh, another Isabel Kramer. I'm going to say Euclid. I'll write it down. I think if I remember right, picture will be here. That is it's a DK shawl obviously, but I think if I remember right that it's a kind of an all one colour shawl, so we'll have to delve into the archives for that one too. And then my last one is Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 47.
Here's a number between 1 and 47. It's 21.
And 21 is Always Better Together by Brenda Brayfield, and I think this was done for when we were all in lockdown, just coming out of lockdown. And I've written here it can be DK or fingering, so I maybe see what I've got in my stash, whether I veer towards the DK or veer towards the fingering. Oh, I'm very pleased with those wee choices. Now, I might not get all of these done. It's a 3-month Kal. I might get one of them done, but that's, I think I'm going to choose what shawls I knit this way from now on. It'd be great if you could do this with all life's issues. Just ask Alexa. Anyway, I hope I haven't set any of your devices off, as I say, and that's my picks. And with the magic of editing, in a few seconds, hopefully you'll see what yarns I'm going to use for my shawls. Thank you. So those were my choices. Well, not really my choices, they were Alexa's choices. And I'm going to show you really quickly what I have chosen to use and to do. So, there's crinkling because they're all in plastic bags. So the first one I'm going to pull out is, so it's the Cornish thrift shawl, and I actually realised this is a pull out from, sorry, it's really going to crinkle. This is a pull out from the Knitter magazine, but you can get it on the Knitter magazine website, which is where have I put it? Oh, let's go back. Right, yes, I've got a bit more to tell you. And this is it here. And the yarn that I've chose to use is, oh, this is going to be a disaster, is needle and thread even. I've had this in my stash forever. Mulled wine knot, and then this is going to be the middle bit, and this was a de-stash. I know this was a yarn swap thing I got from Biff Sugar Yarns. Nope, wrong way. And it is Vanity Fair sock set. Well, I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to use this. So hopefully that'll be really lovely. And you'll see those again, obviously. And then the next one is the slip stitch. So that's the fingering weight, and this is the other fingering weight. So this is the slip stitch party by Isabel Kramer. Sorry, took a total brain bleed there. And I don't know how I'm going to show you these. I'm basically going to do, oh, I'm sorry about this crinkling, it really is bad. I'm basically going to do her colour theme. Can you see? That's it there. But we'll talk about it more whenever. So it's all basically bits and pieces of sock yarn that I have left. And then one skein that lovely Rebecca from the Cray sent me from Stuart Yarns. So I'm not going into too much detail, but that's basically, the white's blowing out, that's basically the colour theme for that. Okay, so that's the second one. Just trying to rush through this because this is going to get ridiculous. Then third one, this is onto the DK, is the Euclid, again by Isabel Kramer. And I got, this is the yarn I'm going to use. Now, I got this in my local yarn shop, the Woolly Beater in Hokehampton, and it was in there just to clear bin, and it was £1 ball. And it is Baby Alpaca DK by King Cowl. 100% pure baby alpaca. Now I'm hoping it's like a rose colour. Oh, it's very good. I'm hoping that there's enough form in it to really, you know, show this. If it's not, I have a standby. So that's the word I'm trying to use. But we'll do a wee swatch or a wee bit of it and see, and then if it's not, we'll go for the standby. But look, I might not even get to it. This is just my plan. And then the last one, sorry, wrinkling again, is the Better Together shawl. Now this is the one that you can do in either fingering or DK. Better Together. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it in fingering DK or DK, but I'm going to do it in, oh, I'm so sorry for the crinkling, a woolly knit cone of British wool in Lupin, and a whole skein super soft in Wave. And I think I will hold them double. I think that's beautiful. That'd be my thumbnail. So that's my plans. Whether they'll come to fruition is a whole other thing. And I missed out one question there, and it's where do I store all my shawls? I think I said before, my dad said, what on earth do you do with all those shawls? And hopefully I'll put a wee picture up here. My husband made me a shawl ladder, a lovely yellow shawl ladder, and it just sits up against the wall in my bedroom, and sometimes it's tidy and sometimes it's not, but anyway. And then I nearly forgot, sorry ladies and gents, I nearly forgot. Crocheters, my crocheters. Now I do not crochet. I know one stitch. I'm doing a blanket which could be going till my daughter leaves. My daughter's 14, until she leaves for college. But I got in touch with lovely Alexis or Alex from my Yarny Corner. So I'll just put, now I can't tell you other than they all use fingering weight yarn, that's all I know. But I'll just put a few pictures up here. And she recommended her own, well, I recommend her shawl, which is the Autumn Wings shawl. And it's Alex has a lovely podcast and an Etsy shop, and you can get her pattern on Ravelry or in her Etsy shop, and that's my Yarny Corner. So this is the Autumn Wings shawl. Then she recommended Hannah Siegmund, and she recommended the Treasure Island shawl, and she also has a podcast called The Cozy Cottage Crochet. And then the last one that she recommended was Carmen Hefferman and the Tendril shawl, but I'll put all these details either on the screen or down below. So I can't help you any more than that because I don't know, but I just wanted to include lovely crocheters in that that list, and sorry, I almost forgot to tell you. And then if I haven't given you enough inspiration, lovely Amy Palco of The Meaningful Stitch has done 2 quite comprehensive shawl, I don't know, Shawl Extravaganza podcasts over on her channel, The Meaningful Stitch, and she has just got out of this world shawls. She's a lovely brioche knitter. I will do brioche in my future, but it's not for now. Oh, they're just stunning. And she has a reel up in her bedroom, and they're all over a reel. So go and check her out. You might get some more inspiration. But as I say, if you can use Ravelry, just go into Ravelry. You can put in whatever weight of yarn you want to use. You can put in the meterage. You can type in 3 skeins. You can type in 1 skein, and it all just pops up. Again, if you can't use Ravelry, but you know what you want designer, or you know what shawl, just Google it and it'll come up if it's on the thing or not. But a lot of designers will send you their pattern, you know, other ways if you really can't manage Ravelry. And I don't want anybody to use Ravelry if they struggle with it at all, and don't want you to feel left out either. Is that everything? Could that be anything more? Just let me check, double check. Yeah. So come over and join us from the 1st of July to the 30th of September. You'd be more than welcome. Any abilities, as I say, any fibres, anything at all, and we'll have a bit of fun. And if we find out anything about a Zoom night, we'll let you know. A normal podcast will be coming maybe next week, or we'll see how things go. We have a young man staying with us for 2 weeks, so our house is a bit different at the moment. But I hope you have a really good time choosing your shawls. Even if you don't wear shawls, maybe you know somebody who does, and you could get a head for your Christmas knitting. Wouldn't that be good? Yes, sorry, I said the C word. I really hope you'll come and join us, and yeah, you'll develop a love of shawls, the same as Fernanda and I have. Thanks so much for taking your time to watch this today. It was a fly through, slow it down, press pause, rewind, whatever you have to do, and I hope we'll see you there on the 1st of July, and get chatting on Instagram and on Ravelry and all the rest of it. And thanks a million. God bless. Bye.